I'm going to call the meeting to order right now. Agenda item B, Pledge of Allegiance. Joe, please.
Certainly.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Okay, public comment. Devin, do we have anyone online?
We do not.
Nothing. Okay. D, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the January 18th meeting, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, corrections? Okay, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
against? Okay, motion passes. Correspondence, Kathy,
You see, we did have 7 pieces of correspondence. We wrote the correspondence is there and then the answer is there. So we did not hear back from anyone after we wrote to them. So I think we answered the questions sufficiently.
okay, good. Excellent. All right, we'll go to reports. Chair report. I'll just give a quick update. Was it last week or the week before? We were at the town council. The town council approved to spend the additional $9 million and also give us to a budget of $16 million. So the council was on board or is on board at least financially with this project right now. So that's all good news. And that's all I have to say about that at this time. And town council liaison, Joe, maybe you'll want to speak a little bit more potentially about your meeting.
You were there at the council. Everything was a great meeting, obviously.
Excuse me, sir. Could you speak into your microphone?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Did a great job presenting at the council meeting. Obviously, it was a unanimous decision to go ahead and forward this with the expenditure that we're talking about. We'll have another meeting obviously tonight to start talking about our budget and keep our plans moving forward to coincide with the 2 projects and put it all to referendum.
Excellent.
Peter, I wanted to just I zoomed in and watched the meeting. And I just wanted to commend you and Kathy for an outstanding presentation on behalf of the committee. You guys did a great job.
Well, thanks. And big shout out to Chris also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, did a wonderful
Chris,
job.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, did a great job. F3, Chris, FHS Building Committee.
Nothing to report. It's of significance to this committee. Other the projects moving forward, and we're making progress on, especially on the site development. So it's everything's going well.
All right, thanks, Chris. Architectural report. Chris, do you have anything new to update?
No new graphics. Everything that we presented to the council was really the final graphics for our task with the 28 committee. However, I just wanted to note that the previous estimate at 16.6 million versus the council's 16 million approved. They directed us to go back and look at some value engineering options. So that's on our plate, primarily working with the high school team to continue to evaluate the site work, but then also coming back through our estimate and project to see if there can be any cost savings achieved anywhere. So that's really our remaining task with you all before we go and prepare for referendum later this year.
Peter, what they might find will come back to this committee, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're at the end of the meeting, we're going to potentially set up a subcommittee for the value engineering.
Yeah.
So that will be our next big phase. The subcommittee doing the value engineering with Chris and his people and Russ and his people. So yeah, a lot to come.
Okay.
All right. F5 communications, probably we have quite a bit on that. So
Yeah.
You do.
Kathy.
Okay, so our subcommittee of Dan, Jean, and I met today, and we have quite a bit to report on, and I'll start going through it. And Peter, maybe I'll do each topic, and
Yeah.
if you have a question, we're going to start with the review of the updated 1928 Building Committee website, and it's on the screen in front of you. So we did do an update of, for the winter of 2023. And unfortunately, I can't see it. from
Neither can I.
here.
You know, while she's walking down there, I just wanted to tell the committee that Dan and I voted unanimously to support what was presented to us. So
Okay.
the subcommittee did make that vote,
Excellent. Thank you.
and it was excellent.
So we started to update the website. So the first thing that we did do is that we now have our floor plans and renderings linked to our website. So when you go on the website, you can see the nice pictures, the floor plans, and the buildings. So, and that was the first thing. The next thing we did was we also have the town council presentation from January 24th. So we linked the presentation on the
Yeah.
full presentation, which I think was a good summary of where we are. So that's now on our webpage. Then we did for the most recent cost estimate, and this one I wanted to take a little bit of time with. As you can see, that was what we have done with what Chris had presented to us at 16,597,919, and that's what we presented to the town council. We did put a sidebar on this for our webpage stating that the town council voted to set the total project budget at 16 million and determined that 7 million in ARPA funds will be used to offset the cost to the taxpayer. So the net municipal cost to the town will be $9 million, and that this committee will make reductions to the project to identify cost savings to stay within the town council's total project budget. So as you know, that our budget came at 16.5, but the council has charged us for 16 million. So that will be part of our value engineering with the site plan work, and that will try to continue to stay within our budget. But I thought this was a good way to show that the project budget is 16.5, and then the red, what the council did
Mhm.
for us. So that's what I did on the website
Yeah.
for that. So that's on the website. Then this was, the committee have seen this before, but this is the square footage of the comparison between the offices and the storage and things like that. That question comes up every so often. Then the next thing is the most recent, our newsletter. So this is, you have this, oh, this, I'm sorry, last minute. This is our old newsletter, but we are now going to be updating
Updating.
tonight our new newsletter. So that is our new. And then also on the front page here. Yeah, my newsletter. On the front page, we did a new summary page. And if you had a chance to read the newsletter, it's very similar to that. But we tried to codify what the council has done, that we have a budget now and why we're doing the project. So now that's all on the front page of the website. And it's also basically the same thing that's on the front page of the newsletter. So we're mirroring that. But so it basically just said, Devin, if you could roll it down a little bit so I can see the beginning, just that as a result of the referendum, you know, the landmark building, the results of the survey, and then what we did on January 24th, that we made the presentation, that we're going to use the ARPA funds, and then really discussing why we should be doing this project now is that it's a landmark building and that we have the ARPA funds, we have synergies, we're going to have cost savings because of that. And that if we are going to renovate a building, we should be doing it now because structurally and financially, it makes no sense not to do it. So all of that is now on the front page of the webpage. So that's an updated front page. And then the next thing that we did update is our Q&As. So we had a few Q&As on, but now we've started to expand on them and add some more to it. So why should the town hall move to the 1928 building? So we spoke about that, the needs. Why are we doing this project now? And what will happen if the project does not pass? One of the things that we did have at the last Q&A, we were kind of blunt about, we're going to just demolish the building. So we've now put more into it, why we have to do it now, based on like what we just talked about. You know, we have the ARPA funds, we have the synergies, we have we can't put up temporary walls, that type of thing. If the town hall moves to the 1928 building, what will happen to the existing town hall? So we talked about the town hall annex. We talked about making for the community space, business space, expand the regional probate court. we talked a little bit at our committee meeting that one of the things that I think it was important too is that, you know, even expanding the regional probate court, about some security, that's going to be a benefit too, because that's one of the topics that we've had in this building, and especially the probate office, that, you know, the lack of security, and even if social service moves in here, that it's going to be a more secured site. So I think some of that is going to be, we're going to put in these Q&As. What is the American ARPA funds, and why are we using them for this project? The timeline. What will the multi-purpose recreational space be used for? So I think what we wrote here is good, but one of the things that came up in the committee is that we should remind people that the multi-space recreational is also going to be open in the evening. So even though it's just, it's part of the town hall, it's going to be open at nighttime. So I think that's a good, we're going to expand on a Q&A to have that. That came up in our committee meeting tonight. How will the 1928 plan affect the high school project? And how long will the construction take? How will it benefit the community? Will the new town hall be accessible to residents with all abilities? And this has to do with our Human Relations Commission has always been speaking to us about universal design, and that we'll be striving for that in our building. And that was it for our Q&As.
I'd like, on the update, you know, one of the very most important things is the tax implication and the cost to the,
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, all right, I
Yeah,
got
because
that.
that's brand new as of today.
Yep,
So
yep,
we just,
yeah.
so then in our, we'll get to that, Peter. One more
Yep.
thing, we have the calendar. So one of the things I wanted to talk about with the group was kind of our schedule. So one of the reasons why we haven't gotten our newsletter out, it's going to go to the new newsletter, which we're going to discuss now. One of the reasons why it hasn't gone out yet is that our grand list was just completed and our average tax numbers have changed. We wanted to have accurate numbers. So the newsletter is going to the printer tomorrow. On Monday, the 13th, we have a TPZ meeting and it's an informal. And my understanding, Russ, you're going to handle that with Peter. And do you want Chris on Zoom on that, or?
Yeah, if you're available, maybe. If not, it's an informal meeting. I don't see that you need to be there, but
What time is the Zoom?
6:30. I'll send you the information.
Okay.
And we'll talk, Chris, before then.
Okay. So presentation, I don't think we need the rest of the committee there, right? It's just
No,
you, yeah.
just an
and
informal.
Peter.
It's an online meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Then the newsletter is going to hit boxes the week of the 20th, so that it would go out. We'll have our next building committee meeting on the 28th. The town council has a meeting on the Capitol that night, which again, we will be mentioning the 1928, but it won't be the sole purpose of the meeting. And then what we thought is that if it hits the mailboxes the week of the 20th, then the week of the 27th, that Thursday night, we would do a community presentation in this building, in this room, with a tour afterwards. And so we do like the architect, we do a presentation. People wanted to have a tour. We do that, questions and answers, relatively informal, so people could see the designs, do that. And then we thought if it worked that Saturday, we'd have two things going at the same time. One, we've asked Starbucks and they said we could come from 9 to 11, I think the time was. And I thought would be a good use of our time, maybe half the committee or people between 9 and 11 could go over there. And then over here in the town hall, we could do tours of the town hall. So that would offer them on a Saturday. So maybe if one or two committee members wanted to come to the town hall and one or two people wanted to go to Starbucks, and we could tour the town hall and do like an informal meeting. And at the Starbucks, we could have designs, we could have the newsletter, just have informal.
Excuse me, Kathy, the calendar doesn't have the times on it,
Okay, we'll put,
but this does.
okay.
I mean, I don't know if you're setting it back out, but
Okay.
it is on the back of the.
Okay,
newsletter
yeah, we can add the
we
times to the
discussed.
calendar.
Okay.
And so that would be, so the newsletter would go out, it would show those dates, then we'd have the presentation on Thursday and a tour, and then a coffee on that Saturday. Then right after that, we thought we'd have another newsletter go to the printer. Maybe not, maybe it doesn't have to be as large, but it would basically be saying, come out and get your vote, blah, 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 give some more updates. do another potential town hall tour if we see a need for it on the 9th. And then the newsletters would go out the week of the 20th, and we do the same thing. So the newsletters would go out on the 20th. We do another community presentation and tour of the town hall here again. And then that Saturday, we'd have one more coffee and tour with the council. Because then on the 3rd of April, we have the blackout period.
Right.
Then we can't have any more literature go out and anything like that. So we figured we just blast 2 more newsletters out. We do the a tour, a presentation, a tour, and a coffee after the newsletters came out. So that kind of was what our thought was. So on the 3rd would be the town council public hearing. That's when they would send this project to a referendum. We'd have what we call a blackout period. We would be going on the 10th to the TPZ for an 8-24, which should be relatively a simple process. And then we'd have our annual town meeting, and which we'd have the 1928 meeting on the 17th at the auditorium. And then our referendum would be on the 27th of April. And that would be in conjunction with the budget. So that, and then we thought that the April community meetings would be in our 3rd town newsletter. Just, we didn't put those in. We put them in closer to the, the next date. Any thoughts on that? The process, our Jean, Dan and I thought, and Devin thought that seemed to flow pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. A lot of information we're going to be putting out there multiple times.
Thoughts? Okay.
Remind me how, so the newsletter has all of the dates through March
Yes.
in it. And then, and I had asked this, I just wanted to say it out loud, that 3rd, and you had just said that too, the 3rd newsletter will have all of the dates, including the referendum
Yes,
date in
yeah.
it as well.
Right. I didn't want the last ones to kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
And Kath,
At Starbucks.
Yeah.
Should we just maybe just post a sign, say grab a coffee, come over to the town hall, or just have one person filter everybody over to here? Or the-
I just kind of thought we wanted to do tours, and people, if they, on a Saturday,
Yeah.
we had the bill, and people can't do it. And then if people wanted more an informal thing, because I think we have enough tours, like we can do that anytime, but I thought the coffee, but I don't, whatever you guys want to do is fine with me. I just thought we kind of would on a Saturday, if we're all coming out on a Saturday for a coffee in the council, might as well have a tour here, because I think some people maybe would want to come on a Saturday.
Well, yeah.
They're not gonna come during the week, have more time in the weekend.
Right, that's why.
Well, I like the idea of having people staged basically at both places, right? Because some people could just randomly walk into Starbucks, want to get a coffee, see us there and say, oh, got perfect timing. I had some questions, but I don't have time to run down to.
Maybe, can we
Yeah.
maybe just put a sign at Dunkin' Donuts too, saying we have tours going on?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if they let us, we
Yeah,
can.
if they let us.
Fine, you know?
Yeah.
Probably not advertising Starbucks though.
No, just saying, grab your coffee, come to the town hall. you know,
Yeah.
Come check it out.
Oh, God.
What about
Yeah.
this thing?
Again, if Dunkin' Donuts, there's a few community members. I mean, we've seen from experience, we're not like, people aren't beating down the door, but if you had some community member at Starbucks, some at Dunkin' Donuts, and then filtered people in,
Yeah.
just whatever you guys, we could work it out.
What about the sign out here? Can some of this go on that?
Is Scott on the line? Is there a rule on that? I think Scott is on the line.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
No, the policy on that is, is related to, school-based functioning and, and any needs from the town manager. So we can
Oh.
make that work.
Okay. Well,
There
I
you go.
thank you.
Unless you think, we'll have an issue with TPZ on that. Otherwise, I think we should be all right.
I think we'd be okay.
I think we should put those dates on there so that we can say we absolutely did everything.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
idea.
And
With
the
the dates
news,
on there, yeah.
yeah, and the newsletter is going to be updated to have the tour, because
Yeah.
right now it only reads the coffee.
Right.
So is everything happening between 9 and 11? For some reason, I envisioned being over at Starbucks and then people coming over here. So for that 2-hour period, they could be in one of a few places.
I mean, I'm open to it. My thought is that everyone at 9 to 11, you pick where you want it to be. You either come to the town hall or you come to Starbucks, or if you want to stay an hour there and an hour over
Yeah.
there and do both, just so we're only using one day, one Saturday.
I just meant for the public,
Oh, for the public.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can-
yeah, 9
yeah.
to, that's my thought was 9 to 11.
for everything.
Yeah, for-
In here or over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's
okay,
what my.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we thinking the tours are of this building
Yeah.
or the
Yeah,
1920?
okay.
Yes.
No, I was gonna ask the same thing.
I think this would be, I mean, again, I think it's more valuable to see why we have
Yeah.
to move into the other building.
Right.
Peter, one thing we discussed at the subcommittee that was of concern to me was the fact that we're eliminating the existing gym, we're creating new recreational space, and I wanted to make sure that the rec department was buying into this, so that if parents come and want to know exactly what the recreational space is going to consist of, and we know it's not a regulation basketball court, that we can say that we vetted it with the recreation department, and they are in total support of the project and the recreational space in the building.
Yeah, that's a good point. Go ahead, Gene.
The other thing that I was going to ask is if at these different locations, if we can have the renderings in big on a tripod type of, for people to see it,
Yeah.
so that we could
Yeah.
speak to that at Starbucks. You could speak to it here. And I guess Dunkin' Donuts.
Didn't they do that with the FHS building
I
committee?
think so.
Absolutely, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We did it at all the schools and we had
Yep.
architects and stuff. I think that's.
Yep.
Yeah,
important.
that was a really good strategy for any kind of visits that we had to have the visuals up at the same time.
Okay. Should be able to do that.
Be prepared to
right.
do that.
So that's,
Yeah.
and we're gonna try to grab you before, you leave to sign up, to make sure people, to sign up for some of this stuff. So, that for availability. All right, and then just for an FYI that we have a town-wide newsletter, not a building committee newsletter, that's going out this month. And CJ wrote the front page and he did mention about the 1928 building. So that's in his message. And then also there's an article that I wrote that's in there about the 1928 building. So that's on the town-wide newsletter. So I think we're trying to get it out as many places as we can. All right. And then the next item would be the newsletter. So the newsletter that we'd like to get out this week. So as you can see, the first thing is that we put the new rendering on the front page, which I thought looked pretty nice. And we have the message, which is the same message that was on the front page of the website. So
Right.
Peter, that's your message. And we just again saying why we're doing it. And so it would be his message. Then we have some Q&As, not all of them, but we tried to pick some that we thought were important. Why should we move? Why are we doing this project now? And again, we just went over most of these questions. And I think the one that we do want to talk about that's brand new is at the end here. So what is the project cost and the tax for the homeowner? And this is just hot off the presses. So the town council set the budget at 16 million, while indicating $7 million in ARPA funds would be used to offset the cost to the taxpayers, bringing the net municipal cost to 9 million. The increase in property tax for the homeowner with an average assessed value of 301,455 for the 1928 building is estimated to be $44.95 over five years, or $8.99 per year. Please visit the project cost page for more information. So the reason why this is, and it's the next part of the newsletter, is that we have quite a bit of debt going off, and this is the same way that we did the high school project. So what we've done with the high school, and we're going to do with this, is that, what did they call it, Devin, a financial page?
Project cost page
Project cost page.
and
That would
tax
be
impact.
and tax impact, which will be part of our budget, be part of our website. And what we'll show is Joe has our financial forecast, and it shows the debt coming off. It shows the different things to show how you got to the 4495. And then I think what they did with the high school project, which I don't know how many people watched it, but I think it's a cool thing, is that when Finance Joe did the presentation, he went through the projections and they did a link to that so people could actually watch it. And so you can watch how they got to it. So because people are going to ask, how come it's so inexpensive? But the reason why is because we're not going to be paying for this debt until at least 3 years. One of the reasons that's beneficial for the ARPA funds is that we'll spend the ARPA funds first for cash on hand for this project. So that will bring us out. So when the project starts, we'll spend the ARPA money first, which is cash on hand. Then when we have to spend the rest of the money, we're way out. We're 3 years out. And by then we've taken on all our high school debt. And actually we bonded the debt, and the debt's actually coming down by then, and some of our other debt. So this project being $9 million, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's a lot less than a high school project. When our debt starts coming off, we start filtering it in. So the overall cost and how we've structured our debt has worked out really well. So the average cost is $8.99 per year for the taxpayer.
And you had said in his presentation, and I can't remember where, that he would be showing some different average costs.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
those
Yeah.
impact,
Yeah.
not just the one.
Right. And then I guess in the high school, what they did is that says if your average assessment is 200 to 400, this is what your taxes
Yeah.
are. If it's 400 to 600, this is what it is, right?
That's important. to
yeah.
do.
Right, yeah.
That's important. to
So
do.
we'll put that on that. So this is just going to get a link, and we're going to try to model our project and finance sheet on our website off the high school one. So, and this is how we showed it for the high school too.
Great.
So that's that. And then our proposed floor plan, which we've all seen before. And then the renderings. And then the site with the new main entrance. And then our meeting schedule. And then we just have to, one thing we have to put on here, we forgot the committee members' names. We're going to put that on. And it's still a couple of things we just have to still tighten up a little bit, but it's pretty close.
This is excellent. Very good. Any additional questions for Kathy and Jean and Dan?
Thank you.
Yeah, this is excellent. It's excellent. There's so much information that will be available to the public for basically every question I would think right now at our fingertips that is answered. So
Yeah.
Thank you for
And
doing
what our communication subcommittee has said, that if, anyone hears a question or you guys have a question that you keep on hearing, let us know and we'll put it on
Put
there
it
to
on there.
answer. So it's not a static document. If something comes up and we keep on hearing more, we can get really very in-depth in our answering on the Q&As if we have to.
well, exactly. And maybe at one of these coffee open houses that we might have or will have, out of nowhere, a great question might come, and at least we're able to react really fast and answer it or get an answer to it, and then get the question and the answer up on a website
Right.
immediately.
Right. And like I said, the finance end of it, we're going to really clean up and have a lot of information on it
Yeah,
to explain
Yeah,
how we
I
got
would
there.
say, yeah, that's definitely going to be very helpful, especially when you break it out into the different categories for assessments, dollar assessments on housing.
Right. So I think
Haven't done-
Jean and Dan, I think that was it for our
So-
communication report.
I think so.
I think I hit them, and then, like I said, they approved the report and the timing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent a report. It's succinct and answers all the questions. Look, you're going to get some brilliant minds who know more about finances than anybody else in the Western world, and they're going to challenge the numbers. But I think the numbers are the numbers, and
Oh,
it doesn't behoove us to get involved in these coffee meetings in a one-on-one, brouhaha with somebody who's going to try to hijack the meeting and talk about taxes and finances. Anybody who's like that, just we'll push them aside and meet with them privately or something. But
right.
I think it's a great structure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Send a balloon their way.
All right.
Excellent.
That was
All
good.
right.
All right, anything else on communication?
Real quick, I have a question for Chris. Are any of the interiors being saved, you know, that you have pictures of? I was just wondering if there are any interior shots of the building that could be part of this, that like some of the hallways and things that aren't really changing that much. And you could tell me that everything's changing so much, it's not.
If anything won't change, it would probably be the stairwells at each end of
Yeah,
the
so
building.
maybe not
Yeah.
enough. I was just wondering if there was some sort of like nice entry detail or something that would be.
Not a lot to showcase. No. No.
We're not very flashy here.
All right. So Peter,
Yep.
do you want to just make a motion maybe to accept the report?
Yeah, Joe, can you give me a motion for that so we can accept?
Make a motion, accept the report.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any
Second.
discussion?
With the financial report?
No,
Which report?
communications.
Oh, ours. Yep.
All right. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Okay, financial report. Kathy, I think we have what, just one?
Yep, we have just approved the attached invoice for $15,690.
So moved.
All right, can I get a second? All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor state by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. All right, the next item, the last item, sorry, is we need to set up a subcommittee for the value engineering. So I'm going to just open this up to any board members who might want to be on it. I did hear from Mike Walsh, who said he would like to be on that, and I opened up the committee to anyone else who would be interested in being on it.
I would be happy to be in it.
Okay. All right. So Jack, Mike, and I think I would like to be on it myself also.
So Mike, Jack, Russ, and Peter,
Right.
And Chris.
Chris,
And
of course,
Chris.
and Chris.
Chris will join us, right?
Yes.
I'll be there.
Okay,
Okay.
Good.
Do we need to make a motion on
you
that?
would.
Okay. Joe, just, Here.
Make a motion of the following members that
The motion
we
man.
discussed for the subcommittee.
there you go. All right, which those members would be myself, Peter Master Batista, Jack Kemper, Mike Walsh, Chris and Russ. Okay. All right, all those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
And Peter, just for the public or if anyone's listening, the purpose of this group, right? You guys are going to really start meeting and looking at the site plan and some
Yep.
different things to, because we have to get our budget and see if there's any other savings, but really start working with the high school group sooner rather than, I think you guys have been working with the high school group, but really get back on their docket, right?
Yeah, I think briefly discussing with Russ, I think within the next week, tops 2 weeks, you'll be meeting with the FHS Building Committee.
Yes.
And those talks will start talking in depth with site work and other possible crossover stuff.
We had our OAC meeting this morning on the job site, and I made it a strong recommendation that we meet with the design team for the high school along with Chris and myself, and to start narrowing down and finalizing what the actual site plans will be for the 28 building project.
Can I just ask a question, Peter, about
Sure.
the site?
Mhm.
You know, we've brought up a few times about the site and and open space, minus trees and bushes and things for pick-me-up things that might happen after the school. Do we have school administrators that are on
The 28.
our
building?
meeting with that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the high school and the 28, as we talk about how we're going to put together the sites and things like that. You know, I know that these drawings are beautiful and not necessarily exactly what's going to happen, but I'm just curious about to make sure that we have that open green space. And I've heard that from a few people.
Yep.
I just wanted to,
Yeah, Scott
Seems-
Hurwitz attends
That's
the
the
meeting
man.
as well, and
Okay.
Sam Kilpatrick. So they'll be included with we go forward with these meetings to make sure that they have full knowledge of what we're doing.
that's great. throughout the school day, after school, there's just things that just start to happen and they just need space for that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, other business. Okay, I think we're good. And on that note, I just need a motion for an adjournment for this meeting.
And, oh, I'm sorry. So Peter, our
Yep.
next meeting is
Is-
at the end of the month, right? It's a
Right.
little bit
28th.
different. The 28th.
28th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Just so everyone make a note
Yep.
of that.
And Kathy, thank you again for this newsletter work and communication work. It was really.
Look at Devin is the master at this.
Well,
Killing it
and
over
Devin,
there.
absolutely. Is the subcommittee meeting on the 28th as well? I don't see any. Is there?
It-
Yep. we
Yeah,
are?
it's
Yeah.
scheduled
Okay.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, keep
Yeah,
your meetings the
okay.
same.
Alrighty.
And then
Yeah.
we'll get an official date out for the value added engineering meeting soon.
On my calendar.
Okay,
Is this, will you be setting up who's going to be where, when at the 28th meeting? As far
For-
as the copies and meets and.
yeah, Kathy and I and Devin will get into the nitty gritty on that. We'll fire off an email on
We'll
all the
coordinate with everyone.
particulars on that.
Okay.
Good.
Okay,
All right.
all
Good.
right,
Good
we're
work.
adjourned.
All right.
All right, thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, Dan. Bye, Chris.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.